minutes. T-minus 9 minutes. T-minus 8 minutes. T-minus 7 minutes. T-minus 6 minutes. minus 5 minutes. Minus for minutes. Minus 3 minutes. Minus 2 minutes. Minus 1 minute. Stand by.
How about that?
Well, hello there. Welcome to a brand new week, everybody. It's one of those days where, another one, where I'm just glad that I didn't think last night when I laid my head down to sleep, what are we going to talk about on the show tomorrow? Because we've got all kinds of breaking news already as we go to air on the Game Plus television network here in hour one and various other platforms, including WQVZ radio, podcast, and more. Jim Lang coming up in hour two, Canada's foremost NFL expert and an author of many best-selling books. We're going to be talking NHL National Championship, Major League Baseball, believe it or not, with the old scruff dog. But he joins us today, and he asked me what we're going to talk about. A lot of NHL talk, but we're going to, Scruffy, if you don't mind, I'm going to jump right into today's breaking news. Are you cool with that?
Yep. Let's go.
Okay. The breaking news. This is the thing. We're not going to talk yet about the weekend NFL playoff games. The Buffalo Bills have fired Sean McDermott. I don't find that funny. It's just, Mitch, this morning I was watching Get Up on ESPN, and right in the middle of the segment, one of the panelists goes, "Oh, my God." And I'm like, oh, did somebody die? Did some country get bombed? No, the Buffalo Bills fired. It was Dan Orlovsky. He's like, "Oh, my God." The move comes 2 days after the Bills were eliminated in a heart-wrenching 33-30 overtime loss at Denver Saturday in the divisional round of the playoffs. It comes after 9 seasons. They've underachieved throughout all of them. I'm not going to go into the rest of the news. We don't have time. Nothing surprises me anymore, Mitch, but in my Sunday newsletter, I wrote this, calls for McDermott's dismissal will be rampant, and it happened. It happened this morning. So Sean McDermott fired as head coach of the Buffalo Bills. Surprised or not surprised?
I am surprised. If you'd have asked me this going into the playoffs, I'd have told you that had Buffalo lost to Jacksonville, I thought this could happen. I thought the win over Jacksonville maybe saved his job. At the end of the day, Rod, and you can debate and do an autopsy on it all you want, the failure of the Buffalo Bills to get to a Super Bowl ends up haunting Sean McDermott. I think there's a lot more to this than what meets the eye. But at the end of the day, how many years can you go to the well and not get to the Super Bowl before something has to be done? So I think that's what's happened here. Is it Sean McDermott's fault? No. Is it Josh Allen's fault? Maybe you can debate
Probably
that
a combo.
little bit.
A combo of all of them. How about that?
Yeah, but when you can't get it done, and you've had how many chances? 8? Like where they've gotten to the final 8, and you haven't been able to get to a Super Bowl? I think that obviously the decision was made to set Sean McDermott adrift. And I think Sean knew it when he walked off the field in Denver. Because he did some things that were very odd after that game. So, we'll see.
Okay, well, hang on. So that's, you were not really surprised. I wasn't really surprised. Let's just walk it back. Let's now, or examine it big picture. That's 10 firings in the NFL of head coaches since the end of the regular season. That's the NHL was the most volatile. It's now the NFL by a country mile. You said the interesting things that he did are strange things. We'll talk about that after the first segment. You saw him talking about the officiating, and all Bills fans are blaming the officiating and saying they got screwed. I'll be honest, the strip interception was odd to me. I mean, I didn't care for either team, but I thought in a 50-50 situation like that or a bang-bang, the ball always goes to the offense, but the Broncos ended up with a football in a critical time. That wasn't the reason they lost the game, nor was it the reason Sean McDermott got fired. So that was one. But two, because there's a lot to get to here today with Scruffy and not a lot of time, somebody wrote in to rodpedersen.com. The comment section isn't as on fire as your column from Saturday, but hey, whatever. I know I can't compete with your writings. And yours is highly entertaining, like Casino Regina, what is it? Always entertaining, the comment section on Scruffy's. But anyways, somebody wrote into mine and just said that the game sucked this weekend except for one, obviously the Denver-Buffalo game. And I wouldn't agree with that. I mean, the Seahawks game was the least It was the biggest blowout
Oh,
of them all.
no,
What was
that
it,
was
41
the best
to
game of
6?
the weekend, Rod.
Well, you could have shut it off after the first play. The Rams did, or the 49ers did. They shut it off after the first play.
The only thing that was bad about
which-
that game is that Seattle didn't put 50 up on those guys. Because I can't stand the Niners.
Is that right? Well, they have enough fans.
Oh.
I realized that at Super Bowl a couple of
know.
years ago. You don't need to cheer for them. They have enough fans. But I will say this. The poll question today is, who will win the Super Bowl? Because we're down to the Final Four. It's brought to you by EMJ Marketing. Will it be Seattle? Will it be Denver? Will it be New England? Or will it be the LA Rams? Running away with it, Mitch. You may or may not like to hear this. The Seattle Seahawks. That's leading the poll
That's
as
fine.
the Super
It
Bowl
won't be
16
Denver.
winners. No. You don't think Jarrett Stidham can pull off the remarkable?
I don't like their chances.
Yeah, I think we were all a little shocked when the news came down right after the game from Adam Schefter that Bo Nix is out for the year with a broken bone in his foot. Like, we just led them to a win in overtime. So, yeah, no, I'm totally with you. But, yeah, you're not afraid this is the Seahawk jinx, the RP show jinx, that all our viewers think your Seahawks are going to win the Super Bowl?
I'm not aware of the optics of the RP show jinx, so I'll have to say no, it's not.
Well, it isn't. It's actually the RP show bump. That might actually propel them to winning the Super Bowl. But clearly, are you too clouded as a fan to reasonably say they are the best team still alive?
I think they are the best team from 1 to 53. I obviously, Denver was a consideration until Bo Nix got hurt. New England, Drake May is still learning. And if CJ Stroud had actually maybe been a quarterback yesterday instead of a turnover machine, Houston might have won that game. And you know that I had Houston and Seattle in the Super Bowl. When it comes to the Rams, Stafford, Nakua, Parkinson, Adams, that team will give that Seattle defense everything it can handle and more. But the Rams, this will be their third straight playoff game on the road. They've had to fly across the country. This won't be a big flight to Seattle. That crowd in Seattle that we know is so good, I think the Seahawks win. But we go back to that game that Thursday night a few weeks ago and how that went.
Hey, he's giving you cues. We'll be right back after this.
This is a test pattern. When your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge. Big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away, ultimatefanzone.ca, or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
21-time nominated Grammy Award winner Dwight Yoakam. Live in concert. June 24th, 7 p.m., Temple Garden Center. Dwight Yoakam. On sale now at sasktix.ca. Dwight Yoakam Live.
All right, it's a brand new week. The text line is open for Western Dodge, 902-518-3033. Are you ready for a new ride? Head to Western Dodge, where the deals are real and the service is legendary. Bob is watching in Medicine Hat, and he writes in on the text line, 902-518-3033. Says, good morning, Rod. Bob from Medicine Hat again. I missed your show last week, but I'm back today. I totally enjoy your talk show. Have a great day, my friend. Same to you, Bob, and if anybody else wants to write it in, tell us how great we are more than welcome for that. If you want to write in and tell us how much we suck, keep your comments to yourself. Okay, Scruffy. The Cats and Rats podcast has wrote in. I always love when the Florida people find us. Hi, Kirby. He says, big sports week ahead. Yeah, we opened with the NFL, spent a whole segment on it. Arlen Bruce writes in, he says, the last time Seattle won a Super Bowl, there was a new pope. And there's one this year. There's a new one this year. He comes from Chicago. 2026, there's a new pope. Is this good for the Seahawks? What a coincidence. I hope Eric Bieniemy comes back. Yeah, what?
The last time the Riders won the Grey Cup in 2013, the Seahawks won a few weeks later. Who won the Grey Cup?
How long did it take you to link that together? How long did that take you to link that together? Like weeks ago?
15 minutes.
Yeah, okay. So hang on. We got the college football national championship to talk about tonight. A little bit more NFL. I want Scruffy's take on a looming MLB work stoppage. I had to do a little research on this. But Mitch, when I said, you heard off the top of the show, I said, there's no point going to bed thinking, what am I going to talk about on the show tomorrow? Because stuff changes. We got Sean McDermott fired as coach of the Bills. Nobody's really surprised. Matthew Tkachuk is back tonight, making his season debut for the Florida Panthers. They're home to the San Jose Sharks, and I'll be at the game. That's why Kirby showed up. He wants to talk about that. It's just, it never slows down the sports machine, and that's a great thing. But the big news on the weekend was the Rasmus Andersson trade, okay? Going from the Calgary Flames to the Vegas Golden Knights. I don't know that cues a rebuild. We knew the Flames were already in a rebuild. We knew Rasmus Andersson was on the block. So did you have any thoughts when you saw him go to Vegas? I'll tell you what mine were in a second, but you're the guest. What were yours?
I had heard that Rasmus Andersson was going to go to Boston. And I know that Elliot Friedman put out a thing as to why he didn't end up going there. Is this a rebuild for the Rasmus Andersson didn't want to be in Calgary. He made that known. And there are some people that thought that Rasmus Andersson was going to be in Vegas before the season started. So this doesn't really surprise me. I like what Calgary got back in return, White Cloud and obviously the 2 high draft picks. But when you take a look at what Calgary's done with draft picks over the last few years, you need to make those picks count. And I don't know if Calgary's really done that. Take a look at what they've done the last 4 or 5 years when it comes to draft picks.
Zane Parekh is on the World Junior team. Dustin Wolf has been spectacular.
Yeah, but just take a look at how many of those guys have panned out.
Oh, I know. I know exactly what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
I know. But I'm looking at it from two sides of the argument. From a Calgary side first, a first-round pick would have been great for Rasmus Andersson, but to get Zach Whitecloud and 2 other pieces, that's 4 pieces for Rasmus Andersson.
Yeah.
That's a great trade for Calgary. And we had Tim Hunter on the air last week, and he's saying, hey, we're preaching patience in Calgary. And I know that the Flames fans are tired of that, but you got a great guy in Craig Conroy as the GM that everybody loves and respects within the organization, locally grown, i.e. through the Flames organization. Ryan Huskis, same thing. You get it's like when you go to the hospital, Mitch, and you've had it with family members. When you hear you're in the best hands possible. This sucks, but at least you're in good hands. That's where the Flames are at. And from the Vegas side, you and I saw it for decades. Just like the Brandon Wheat Kings back in the day, Vegas always gets the player. They got Noah Hannafin. Yep. They got Thomas Hertl. They got Mitch Marner. They're getting Rasmus Andersson. They're getting Carter Hart. How do they pay for it?
They might get Artemi Panarin too, Rod.
I don't know how they do it. And we're not GMs. But that's the first thing I thought. Kelly always gets his guy. I'm not even surprised by it anymore. You're obviously not
like
either.
I just said, I wouldn't be surprised if they end up with Artemi Panarin.
Yeah. Who knows how that's going to go? That's on a rental, though, right? He'll get the Rangers to keep half his salary, which is what they did with Rasmus Andersson. They'll end up with the player. But that's the other thing, Mitch. I don't know if you've been on this show when I've said I had an NHL GM in the press box say to me here in Sunrise over the last couple of years. He's like, everybody wants to play armchair GM. Don't. They'll find a way. It reminds me of an NFL agent I was talking to last week. He goes, I love your show, but how do the people like in Atlanta feel about you talking about these sponsors in Moose Jaw and Calgary? I said, don't worry about it. Leave that to me. Just watch. That's our area. Okay, you just be the audience, and we're fine. Just like Kelly McCrimmon and all the GMs, you guys just sit back, let him handle it. Which, speaking of all of that, listen, I've been dying to ask you this, Mitch, and if I don't ask you now, this show will get away from me. You and a lot of the Major League Baseball pundits and fans have been talking about this looming work stoppage. Now would be a good time to talk about it with Bo Bichette going on Friday to the Mets. Explain to me why, because the owners are making more money than ever. The players are making more money than ever. So why would there be a work stoppage? I understand everybody feels there will be one, but with the players and owners making more money than ever, why would they stop? Why would they stop now, knowing how potentially fatal it is for the game?
Roddy, right now, and I'm just going to go to the National League. The Pittsburgh Pirates, the Colorado Rockies, the Washington Nationals,
Marlins,
the Florida Marlins, or the Miami Marlins, whatever they're called now. Pitchers and catchers are going to report there in a couple of weeks. Their season is already done. We already know that basically the LA Dodgers are buying everybody. The Chicago Cubs are a big market team. You go to the American League, the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Blue Jays are trying to get up into that upper echelon. You take a look at, and the Major League Baseball owners aren't stupid. They see the parity that's going on in the NHL. They see the parity that's going on in the NFL. They want to be a part of that. And you just can't compete when the Dodgers are throwing obscene amounts of money at Kyle Tucker, when the Mets are throwing obscene amounts of money at Bo Bichette. We saw where the Pittsburgh Pirates wanted to try and get Kyle Schwarber. Well, the Phillies went, that's funny. We need a competitive balance in Major League Baseball. Because right now, the Dodgers are going to be in the playoffs. The Cubs will be in the playoffs. The Yankees will be in the playoffs. That's already a quarter of the teams that make the playoffs in baseball. We already know that. We haven't even started the season yet.
So instead of the owners and the players fighting over money, so instead of the owners and players fighting over the money, which is the way it's been for 100 years in all leagues, it's owners fighting over the money and the way it's spent. Is that what it is? The owners are against each
I
other?
think a lot of owners are going like, what? Like the Dodgers obviously have more money than anybody to do what they're doing. Although with this deferral scheme that they have, it's interesting. But I think all the owners, like the Detroit Tigers, can't compete with the LA Dodgers, and the Detroit Tigers probably have the best pitcher he is the best pitcher in baseball, Tarek Skubal, and they can't keep him. The Pittsburgh Pirates won't be able to keep Paul Skeens in a couple of years. Baseball needs to be fixed. And I think, and a lot of other people think as well, that when the final out is made at this year's World Series, that's going to be it for baseball for a long time, because the players are going to fight about a salary cap, and why wouldn't they? They're not going to say, oh, yeah, you're right. You know what? We want to limit our players with the money they make. But,
well,
I think we're in for a real nasty fight here.
Okay, well, let me pause you. So I put this into ChatGPT, and this is a major curveball, pardon the pun, in our audience. I'm sure they didn't expect it. I didn't tell you I was going to bring this up, but you're handling it marvelously. But I put it into ChatGPT. Why would there be a work stoppage at the end of the 2026 season? And what it said was 4 reasons from the players' view. The share of total revenue going to the players has declined. I think in hockey, we call it hockey-related revenue. So baseball, the share of money being made, the less of it's going to the players than ever. Too much money is concentrated at the very top, which you just talked about. Younger players, pre-arbitration, are severely underpaid, and teams are manipulating service time more than ever. Does that jive with your understanding of this?
Yeah. What was the one? What was the other one? The third one you said?
I just scrolled back up to the top. Hang on. Share of total revenue going to players has declined. Too much money is concentrated at the top. Younger players are severely underpaid. But that's like...
Okay, that one I wasn't aware of that one. So I think some of the younger players...
No, but I get it.
Yeah, I get it too, but I just haven't done a deep enough dive into that area.
Okay. I mean, again, that's like when the CFL salary cap went up when I was working in the league. All the guys, the rookie American DBs were all, hey, thinking they're going to get rid. No, all the money went to the Canadian O-linemen and quarterbacks. You guys aren't getting any more. It's the same mentality. So the guys at the top were making more money, and the guys at the bottom, nothing changed for them. And that's just life. That's sports. Anyways, well, okay, yeah. Now the viewers are writing in about that, and that's my fault for bringing it up. Everybody's asking, they're saying baseball needs a salary cap. I think we can all agree on that. But anyways, hey, so the orders to on the ice last night, it is January, by the way, and it is -1 million in Canada. Zach Hyman had 2 goals and an assist. Connor Ingram made 27 saves. And the Edmonton Oilers beat the St. Louis Blues 5-0 Sunday. There were only 3 games. Tampa Bay got back on the horse, and they won again at Dallas. But as far as the Oilers go, okay, is it I respect the Oiler fan base, of which you're one of them, but it's like, is this like tossing the kid some pablum or a toy? Or you're good now, the fans, Oiler fan? You won. Got a shutout. Everything's good? Everybody's off Connor Ingram's ass or the Oilers' ass? They're in a playoff spot. Is it all good now?
Well, again, we sat here in November and went, oh my God, the Edmonton Oilers can't win. And I told you, I said, can we sort of like let this thing percolate a little bit, because they'll be fine. I think the goaltending situation is fine. Tristan Jarry and Connor Ingram shutouts on back-to-back nights, albeit one of those
fine
against a Vancouver Canuck team, which is god-awful terrible. But this is the Edmonton Oilers team, and they don't have Draisaitl right now because he's obviously got a family matter that's more important, which is fine. But this is the Edmonton Oilers team that I think the Oilers fans were looking to see. And they're 2 points back of Vegas now for first in the Pacific. They're going to be a playoff team unless disaster strikes. They've got some improvements that have to be made, but this is where I thought Edmonton would be on the 19th of January.
Well, and I think their fans all did too, of which you're a fan, you're a pundit. All I'm saying is, Edmonton, slow down and enjoy this right now. For all the reasons Mitch just said.
Right.
And you just mentioned two goalies that had shutties. You didn't mention Calvin Pickard, his brother. Is there a way they can keep all three? I know it's unconventional, but is there a way?
I don't think there is. And I don't know. I don't know if Calvin Pickard can go to the minors without being placed on waivers. I know that's the case with Connor Ingram. I don't know if they can do that with Pickard. I think that Stan Bowman's probably trying to find a buyer for Calvin Pickard, and he'll take like as cheap a get as he can get because I think it's a draft pick, so they can save some salary cap money. But I just can't see Calvin Pickard having a future in Edmonton with Ingram and Jari playing the way they are. And the former Moose Jaw Warrior, Connor Unger's playing pretty well in the minors. So,
again, enjoy it, everybody. We'll take a timeout. We'll talk about the Natty when we come back. Some more NFL stuff. Kirby's right. There's a whole hell of a lot going on in sports this week. We'll be right back. You're watching live on the Game Plus Television Network, YouTube Live, and WQVZ Radio.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away. ultimatefanzone.ca or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection, booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina. This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
All right, welcome back, everybody. One more segment left with Scruffy. The text line's humming. I might save a lot of these comments till after Scruffy adjourns. David number 2 is watching in Winnipeg. He writes in, he says, "Hey, Rod, Jonathan Toews makes his return to the United Center tonight as a Jet." Signed, Dave number 2 from Winnipeg. Yes, that's quite exciting for Jonathan Toews going back. But I got to talk with Mitch about the Natty. You're a big college football fan. That's point 4 of the Quick Six show topics. The biggest game in college football is set to be decided tonight by transfer quarterbacks for the second year in a row. Indiana's Fernando Mendoza and Miami's Carson Beck both joined their teams after successful stints with other teams. This trend of transfer quarterbacks leading teams to championships is growing. Hoosiers coach Curt Cignetti emphasizes the need for immediate success, saying there's no time to wait for development. Look, I got a lot of fun things to talk about with the Natty tonight, but you're the guest. So how much you looking forward to Miami, Indiana tonight from Hard Rock Stadium?
I'm really looking forward to this game. I know a lot of people believe the Indiana Hoosiers are going to roll over Miami the way they've done with other teams in this playoff. I thought the Miami Hurricanes had a team with Carson Beck as quarterback that could win the national championship at the start of the season. That Miami defense is very good. Indiana favored by 8 points as of the last time I looked. I'll take Miami to cover, and I think Miami can win this football game straight up tonight. I really do. They're obviously going to have home field advantage and go from there. I think this is going to be a great football game.
I think it's going to be
your Miami audience,
tremendous football game. Yeah.
By the way, for your Miami audience, and I take to throw a curveball back at you, I just received a text from a buddy of mine. Sean McDermott to the Dolphins, Mike McDaniel to the Bills. What do you think about that?
There's a guy coaching the LA Rams, their defensive coordinator, whose name's come up with regards to coaching the Dolphins. His name is Chris Shula. You might have heard of his dad, Don.
Yeah, I think so. His dad is pretty good.
Yeah, they have their eye on another guy here. But listen, here's the thing. Just to give you an idea. It's going beyond. I've never seen anything like it, what's been going on here in South Florida for a week. And I've been to Grey Cups. I've been to Super Bowls, Stanley Cup. It's been bigger than all of them, just so you know. And here's the funniest thing from the weekend. I live 40 miles north of Miami. It's like, in my mind, Mitch, it's like driving from Regina to Yellowgrass. That's what I think when I go down there, except sometimes it takes 2 hours or more. But anyways, people are sending photos from South Beach. They're saying, stay away from South Beach. It's like spring break, but with old people. Because college football fan base, frankly, tends to skew to the older in terms of paid season ticket holders. I mean, the students all go for free, and that's what you see on TV all the time. But the paying public is older people. So they've taken over the whole area. Matt DeBuck and I went for lunch yesterday in Fort Lauderdale on the water. We thought we would be out of the madness. Nope, full of Hoosiers fans. Like there's millions have come here for this, which while I have you here and you mentioned the Miami audience, go ahead.
Midwestern girls at spring break? No, can't see it, Rod.
Just saying it's like spring break, but with old people. That's what everybody's saying, which I got a real kick out because old is like our age and older, Mitch. So I mean, there's some nice sights down there. It's not like walking into Walmart and everybody's wearing a bikini. We DeBuck says yesterday, he goes, you might want to take the A1A home. It's to have a look. And it was good. But here's the funny thing. The Panthers moved their game. It was supposed to be at 7:00 tonight against San Jose. They've moved it up to 6 p.m. to accommodate the Hurricanes mania. So Matthew Tkachuk makes his season debut tonight. That's kind of it. Frankly, is getting lost in the wash of the national championship for obvious reasons. But last I looked, I think they're like 4 points out of a playoff spot. How much of a difference will Tkachuk make to the Florida Panthers, do you think?
Oh, he'll make a huge impact for the Florida Panthers. You obviously know that team a lot better than me, but I think that with Matthew Tkachuk returning, the only real, big player on that team that's now missing is Barkov, is it not?
And Dmitry Kulikov. There are a couple others, but those are the big ones. Kachuk and Barkov.
Guys like the Reinhardts, the Bennettts, the Ekblads. Like Barkov's the main guy now. That's not there, right? The other guys are all back.
Oh yeah,
correct. Yeah. So like I think that this will help the Florida Panthers tremendously as they try to get back to the playoffs and make it a three-peat.
Yeah. Well, it's funny, but oh man, fans. I saw a thing on social media this morning that said how to make your life happier, and it was a photo of a hammer through the screen of an iPhone. Smash your phone. You'll be a lot happier. Because Alexander Barkov was at the Heat game the other night, sitting right beside the Heat bench, and they did a selfie video, and he's like, "Hello, Heat Nation." It was like Cary Grant on the Flintstones. Everybody laughs at his terrible English. He's like, "What's up, Heat Nation?" Because he's like a robot. And of course, the Panthers were playing at the same time, so people are up his ass. Why isn't he watching the Panthers? They're playing at Washington. What's he doing at the Heat game?
Oh my God. I love it when players or coaches read things off of scripts. Like when a coach apologize, or when somebody has to apologize and it's like, I am sorry for doing X, Y, and Z. And everybody's like, oh, okay. It's so contrived.
Yeah. So, hey.
Here's what the PR person has put out. Read it.
DG in Saskatoon writes that he says Don Shula is Chris's grandpa, actually. Okay, cool. I was watching Shula with his toque on at Chicago last night going, dag nabbit, he looks like Don. Get the crooked hook nose, and he's going to look just like him when he's 70. John Ohm has showed up. Ohm says, go, Jets, go. Jonathan rocks. Mark is watching in Melford. He says, the Walmart you go to, Rod, is a lot different than the Walmart in Saskatchewan. You'd be surprised. You'd be really surprised. The Walmart that I go to is in Pompano Beach. No, yeah. I remember walking in there, and this girl was walking out, and I'm like, what makes you want to wear your pajamas to Walmart at 2:00 in the afternoon? Do you not have any...
But you could ask that question at the Moose Jaw Walmart too, Rod.
That's what I'm saying. It's not that different. That's what I'm saying. Mitchell, that's what I'm saying. 902-518-3033. Fun and frivolity with Scruffy. Wayne writes in from Victoria, BC. He says, hey, Rod, baseball's not my sport, but I agree that MLB needs to be fixed. They probably need a salary cap. I guess I'll wind this up. I didn't mean to go down that road, but it's been popular with the viewers, the baseball talk. Will there be a salary cap? Will there be a work stoppage? And will there be a cap come out of it at the end of it?
There's going to be a work stoppage. I'm convinced of that. How will it end up? I don't know. And I know I've had a couple of people that I've talked to this with maybe saying, you know what, maybe you need a salary floor and not a salary cap. I don't know if that's the answer, but I just think we're in for a nasty, nasty fight as we try to get this thing settled.
And how do you think it'll end up? Because a lot of people left baseball after 94 and never came back.
Well, a lot of people left, Rod, in Canada because of the Montreal Expos situation. Because they all felt that the Expos were going to win the World Series that year. Well, there's no guarantee that have. And I tell people that tell me that, the Seattle Mariners won 116 games one season. They didn't get past the Yankees in the playoffs. There's no guarantee that the Expos, who were the best team in baseball when the season ended in 93, would have won the World Series. I just can't see there being a season. I think, the MLB is going to lock out the players before spring training. They don't want to take a chance of getting a season started and then have what happened in 93 take place. And I just don't see the players saying, you're locking us out. Oh, no. Okay, fine. We'll take a cap. Let's start playing. I just don't see that happening. So get ready, baseball fans, because it's not going to be pretty.
That's the thing. I don't discount that it's coming. I don't know the reasons why, and that's why I put it to you. I mean, I am a fan. I am not a diehard, Anyways, Mitch, thanks for making it a priority to be on here today. I appreciate you for that. We'll see you tomorrow.
Not a problem, Roddy. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Sports update and viewer takeover on the way. Jim Lang coming up in hour 2. It's the RP Show live across Canada and 32 U.S. states on the Game Plus television network.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk, sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world! Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world! Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Welcome back. We're back at it. And now that Scruffy's gone, we can get down to business. And what I mean by that is take care of business. A few more sponsor reads. The Junior Hockey Report. We do it daily for the Mad Greek Eatery. The Moose Jaw Warriors are back at home after going 3-3 on their West Coast road trip. They finished with back-to-back overtime wins on the weekend, 3-2 in Seattle on Saturday, and then beat the Chiefs in Spokane 5-4. Warriors can look forward to 2 home games this week with Prince Albert and Victoria coming to town for games Thursday and Friday. You're going to the games, right? Stop at the Mad Greek ahead of time. Experience authentic Greek flavors right in Moose Jaw at the Mad Greek Eatery, open until 11 p.m. I get a bang out of it just like you do. As I said, but that NFL agent said it to me last week, but I talked to him again this morning, as a matter of fact, about something else. But he's like, how do the listeners in Atlanta feel about you talking about sponsors in Saskatchewan? Who cares? Really, who cares? They're all watching. It's entertaining, and that's the name of the game, Jim. His name's not Jim. I'm just throwing that in there. 902-518-3033. Let's just clean up. If I dive into this swamp of the online streaming chat, I'll never get out. But let's do it anyways. Okay. The breaking news today, Sean McDermott fired as head coach of the Buffalo Bills, and Matthew Tkachuk will make his season debut tonight for the Florida Panthers. That's the breaking news today. Jeremy writes in, he's a Chiefs fan. He says the Bills might have gotten screwed on that call, but that didn't lose them the game. Josh Allen did a lot of things before then to lose it. To blame the refs is meh. Oh, I know. I felt like the news conference with McDermott after the game was a man trying to save his job. That's what I saw. I'm sticking up for Buffalo. And I didn't get the strip. I was watching it going, well, how are they giving that to the defender? That's never been a thing. That the ball always stays with the offense in that situation. But whatever. Doesn't matter. He's gone. Sean McDermott fired this morning as coach of the Bills. Talking about Walmarts. Walmartians. I always got a bang about that. People that make fun of people that go to Walmart, yet you're at Walmart, so you're one of them. The people were saying that I go to a more sophisticated Walmart here in South Florida than at home in Saskatchewan. No. The very last time I was there, lady was walking out in her pajamas at 2 p.m. I'm like, what would possess you to leave the house in your pajamas? Do you have no pride? Bill writes in from the Queen City. He says, LOL, we were on vacation in Vegas a few years back and went to Walmart at 10 p.m. just to see the show. There's a lot of things to do in Vegas at 10 p.m. aside from go to Walmart. But you know what? Hey, it would be a real boring world if we were all the same, Bill, right? You know that. Scott in Vancouver writes in and he says, note to self, women walk around in bikinis late at night at Walmart. Not the ones that I go to. As I said, I could get lost in this for a good long while. So I'm going to dip out for a sec. Ask me about Bob being left in for all 9 goals. And I didn't see a quote from Paul Maurice. I didn't see him comment on it in his for all 9 goals. And I didn't see a quote from Paul Maurice. I didn't see him comment on it in his post-game news conference. But I've never seen a coach and goalie relationship as strong as Paul Maurice's and Sergei Bobrovsky's. And Vasilevsky did the same thing. He was left in a year or two ago in Tampa for, I think, 8 goals. It's so embarrassing for the goalie to be pulled, and trust me, been there. If Bob wanted to stay, it would have been Bob's call. Let's put it that way. That's all. But not everybody views it the same. That's what people need to understand. Patrick Roy was left in for all those goals in Montreal, never played another game as a Hab. So it's not always the same. Kirk is watching in Toronto on Game Plus TV. He says, hey, Rod, although it's considered a myth, the third Monday in January is Blue Monday for many and for some NFL teams. Well, I guess, again, Sean McDermott this morning became the 10th coach fired in the NFL. We're working our way close to a third of the coaches have been fired since the end of the season. Or all season, because two were fired mid-season. Sports update for the Ultimate Fan Zone. There are 10 games in the National Hockey League, including one in Toronto, where the Maple Leafs host the Minnesota Wild. Both teams will be aiming to win their second straight. Elsewhere, the Chicago Blackhawks host the Winnipeg Jets. The Devils visit the Calgary Flames, and the last place Vancouver Canucks. Ho, ho, ho. Only a certain amount of people understand that reference. Losers of 10 in a row host the New York Islanders. There are 9 games in the NBA, including a game in Detroit, where the Eastern Conference leading Pistons host the second-place Boston Celtics. Both teams have won 2 in a row. The Raptors, who lost 110-93 to the host LA Lakers Sunday night, will look to snap a 2-game skid when they visit the Golden State Warriors on Tuesday. And the NFL Conference Championships are set. In the AFC, the Denver Broncos host the New England Patriots, while the LA Rams visit the Seattle Seahawks. The winners will meet in Super Bowl 60 on February 8th at Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara, California. Sports update is for the Ultimate Fan Zone. Rough Riders, Blue Jays, NFL, NHL, you name it, they've got it. Rep your team loud and proud with Ultimate Fan Zone Sports Store, Moose Jaw. Shop now at ultimatefanzone.ca. What else do we have here? B. Scott writes in. He says, didn't Sheldon Keefe leave Jacob Markstrom in for 10 a few weeks ago? What was that? The Islanders game? 9? Yeah, so it's a thing. Like I say, Everything's changing from the way that it used to be. And that's okay. It's fun. There's a lot of work to stay on top of it. But guess what? If you don't, you get left behind. Jeff, the Stamps fan, appreciate you joining us today, Jeff, on a chilly day in the Great White North. He says, think how mad Canadians get when Americans stereotype us to all those making fun of Walmart shoppers. Yeah. They call it, but that's my point. You make fun of them, yet you're one of them. I've never really understood that. It's open line, for lack of a better term, till the top of the hour, and then we'll get into hour two. We go across Nevada on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. Jeremy writes in, he says, that Fedorov jersey retirement night was amazing. Patrick Kane now 3 points away from passing Modano. Oh, I'll tell you one thing that I've learned now, 5 years residing in America in the winter. You know that I come back in Canada for June, July, August. We've been saying it wrong all these years. We've been saying Mike Modano. Apparently it's Modano. But he showed up in PA, Prince Albert, at the age of 16 with a face full of braces and the spiky haircut. I'm sure he was too nice and too shy to correct everybody. We've been saying Modano for 30 years. It's actually Modano. I don't think he cares. 902-518-3033 is the text line. Should we do the NHL picks now? Hey, why not? We got time. Martin Luther King Day in the U.S. of A. If we run out of time, I'll carry him over to next hour. But Buffalo at Carolina tonight. Whew, dagnabbit, that might be the game of the night. I'm going to go with the Canes. They continue to stay strong because this is the regular season. Washington at Colorado. The Avs still smarting from losing at home to the Leafs. Taking the Avs there. Pittsburgh at Seattle. It's a cracking win. San Jose at Florida. Matthew Tkachuk is back. It'll be a Panthers win. Chucky's back, and you. Florida wins. Minnesota at Toronto. Oh, Jim Lang coming up next hour for Leaf Talk for the Leaf minions that are tuned in. Get your Leaf questions out. I think they'll lose to Minnesota. Philadelphia at Vegas. Kata Hot faces his former team for the second time. Did he play when they went into Philly? I don't believe he started that game. He'll probably start tonight. Go with Vegas. What have they won? 7 in a row now? Winnipeg at Chicago. Jonathan Taves returned. It's a Jets win. New Jersey Devils at Calgary. Flames are going to want to win the first one post Rasmus Anderson. That's what I think. Yep. Oh, wait a minute. Markstrom's returned. Still a Flames win. Islanders at Vancouver in a rematch of the what? 1982 Stanley Cup Final? Something like that. I'm going to take the Islanders. There you go, Joe Lazito. There's your daily Joe Lazito shout out. Biggest Islanders fan I know, and I actually know a lot. And the New York Rangers at Anaheim, definitely a Ducks win. Trouba, Kreider, they're going to want to stomp all over the New York Rangers, despite the letter the GM sent out to everybody last week. Okay, it's been fun. Jim Lang next hour will re-up with the breaking news and all the rest. It's the RP show. You're watching live across Canada and 32 U.S. states right here on the Game Plus TV network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
How about that?
It's Monday. It's a brand new week, and to the U.S. viewers and those whom observe, happy Martin Luther King Day. To the Canadians, it's still Martin Luther King Day. Trust me, and you can observe as well. It's Hour 2 on the Game Plus television network across Canada. We welcome the viewers on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. Hi. Yes, we're across Nevada, number 1,658 of so many people's favorite daytime sports talk show. Coming up in the second segment, Jim Lang will be joining us, NFL pundit and best-selling author. We've got a heck of a lot to get to. Breaking news on this Monday, which by the time it airs in Nevada won't be breaking news anymore. There's a lot of football to get to. There's a lot of hockey to get to. So point one of the Quick Six show topics includes breaking news. The Buffalo Bills fired coach Sean McDermott Monday morning after the team again failed to reach the Super Bowl in his 9 seasons. The move came 2 days after the Bills were eliminated in a heart-wrenching 33-30 overtime loss at Denver in the divisional round of the playoffs. That was Saturday. The Bills went 12-5 in the regular season, saw their 5-year run atop the AFC East end. McDermott transformed the franchise into a perennial winner, but was knocked for failing to make a Super Bowl appearance. I had him picked to make the Super Bowl against Detroit. Buffalo became the NFL's first team to win a playoff round in 6 consecutive years, but not reach the Super Bowl. So that is the breaking news from the coaching for to win the Super Bowl. Is it the Seattle Seahawks, LA Rams? They'll meet in the NFC Conference Championship. Is it the Denver Broncos? Is it the New England Patriots? They'll meet in the AFC Conference Championship. Running away with the poll, just so you know, is the Seahawks. I don't know if it's because of our heavy West Coast-based viewership. I don't know. Or people actually believe that. That's who I voted for. I'll use Cinderella feel. If I had this right, and I got to go back and look at it, the poll results here, but yeah, 52% of poll respondents on the EMJ Marketing Daily poll, 52% are saying the Seattle Seahawks will win. 32% saying New England, 16% saying the LA Rams, and 0% say the Denver Broncos, clearly not believers in Jarrett Stidham, who will be making the start in the conference championship this weekend for Denver because of the broken bone in the foot of one Bo Nix. So anyways, so you got the games. That's the one thing. And then the other is the coaching carousel. And everybody's all excited about the head coaching carousel and where those guys are going to go. And we talked about it last hour. Was Sean McDermott going to come down and coach the Dolphins? Is Mike McDaniel, who was just fired as the coach of the Dolphins, going to go up and coach the Bills? Probably not. I can't see that happening. But I will say this before I move on. I'll dip in on this. I appreciate Jeremy checking in. I'll dip in on this. I appreciate Jeremy checking in. He is a Kansas City Chiefs fan, but also a Detroit Red Wings fan. He was talking Detroit. I just noticed this today, by the way. Detroit and Tampa Bay tied for first place in the NHL's Atlantic Division as of today. It'll change 18 times by the weekend. But Jeremy, I appreciate him watching this show because we don't talk a lot of Red Wings nor Lightning. But he was saying that Chiefs, but he was saying the jersey retirement night for Sergei Fedorov the other night was amazing. He said he watched Todd McClellan, the Red Wings coach, his post-game news conference, saying the rookies asked who's the guy in the wheelchair on the ice. And he says, which was Vladdy. He said, so much history here, the kids don't even know. Well, here's one for the old timers, of which I include myself in that group. Talking about Vladimir Konstantinov of the Stanley Cup champion, the Detroit Red Wings in the late 90s, who, it's a terrible story, a team party. The players were being responsible. And they got limos to drive the guys around after their year-end party. And the limo, my vote is Seattle. But who's going to be waiting for them is New England. Because I believe Houston is really nothing more than a free spot on the bingo card. Or Denver's a free spot on the bingo card, which didn't even get into this with Scruffy last hour on the play of C.J. Stroud for Houston with the loss at New England yesterday. Man, is that kid getting pulled through the muck, the young quarterback for Houston. Yeah, he did not look himself, made terrible decisions with the football, which always has been his thing since even coming out of OSU. Not that. Brilliant play. Very, very high level of intelligence, but he didn't show that in the game. And, of course, American schools have been trending upwards as of late. Both were listed as 100-1 long shots at some point this season to win the national championship. The game's going to be played at Hard Rock Stadium tonight here in Miami Gardens. And so just some fun stories coming out of that, because this ain't your typical sports show. I think you've all figured that out by now. The place is overrun. South Florida is overrun with obviously fans of both teams. The Hurricanes are the first team in NCAA history to play for a championship in their own stadium, which, well, for certain the college football playoff championship, but I believe it's NCAA history. That's exciting. Going up against an Indiana Hoosiers team, which is led by a kid from Miami, Fernando Mendoza, the young transfer quarterback who came from California. By the way, producer Corey, they're telling me that there's issues with the screen. And was there anything I can do on that? The viewers are. So I know that there's some issues going on. But anyways, people think, you look at a map and you think South Florida is just this tiny little sliver. But it's not. It's a huge place. To drive from one end to the other takes you over 12 hours. It's overrun with college football fans. And the really funny thing coming out of the weekend Oh, I see. Game Plus has lost the feed. What are we going to do, producer Corey? Are you still there? Well, I'm going to continue with this, but if you've got questions or comments and you're watching live on YouTube, you can certainly fire them in my way now. 902-518-3033 on the text line or the YouTube chat. But anyways, Indiana goes into the football game tonight, favored by 7.5 points. And hang on. Yeah. At the very same time, across town, the Florida Panthers are going to be taking on the San Jose Sharks. And Matthew Tkachuk makes his return to the roster tonight for the Florida Panthers. So there's a lot going on in South Florida tonight. There's 80,000 people that are going to be at the football game, having paid $3,500 to $20,000, somewhere in between for the match. And the Hoosiers go into the game favored by 7.5. Ah, yes. Thank you, Snowman, checking in from Indiana. Says, hey, Snowman checking in. Wife and I are ready and rooting for the Hoosiers. By the way, the Snowman will be doing a special live pregame show for the game tonight. Check it out on his YouTube channel, Snowman Multimedia. But it's not like anything that I've ever seen before. The people that are here. It says 80,000 in the stadium. Thousands more just came for the Super Bowl of college football, as far as the eye can see. And friends sharing photos of South Beach. If you know the area, you'll know. If you don't, you should learn it. You should come down for a visit. Is it Indiana or is it Miami? It's a 7:30 kickoff tonight on ESPN in the States and Eastern, and 7:30 on TSN in Canada. 902-518-3033 is the text line. Motoring along. The Pacific, 0.3, Pacific Division, 0.3, Pacific Division leading Vegas Golden Knights added an offensive element to their blue leading Vegas Golden Knights added an offensive element to their blue line by acquiring defensemen in a rebuild. They've admitted it long ago, and they knew Rasmus Andersson wasn't going to be re-signing with the hockey club, a la Johnny Gaudreau, a la Matthew Tkachuk. So to get 4 pieces back for an expiring contract is a win for the Calgary Flames. And as far as the Vegas Golden Knights go, for our viewers across Nevada, you win another trade. Congratulations. That's always going to be the case with Kelly McCrimmon as your general manager. We say it almost daily here on this program on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. And, Vegas gets another player. There was rumors. It doesn't matter where Rasmus Andersson was tied to before. The hot rumor was Boston. I can't remember where else, but it doesn't matter. He ended up in Vegas. Vegas always gets the player. They got Thomas Hertl. They got Noah Hannafin. They got Mitch Marner. Shoot. They got Jack Eichel and Carter Hart. And they're in first place and on a run. Welcome to Vegas Golden Knights hockey. So it's, you know what? We've been around this perilous trade of hockey long enough to know that the best trades are the ones that both sides win. And that might be the case here. Evidence of that, best trade in NHL history for that evidence is the Calgary.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share.
Coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl. Coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our
marketing. We don't just promote, we partner.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Be sure to sign up for the Rod Squad newsletter. It drops every Sunday afternoon. It's free, and you can sign up now at rodpedersen.com, brought to you by Suds Full Service Car Wash. Fuel your fleet's finesse with Suds Regina's unbeatable cleaning packages. They'll shine like new every time, just like Jim Lang's smile. Happy Monday, Jim. Black Mondays continue in the National Football League. Another firing today with the Bills getting rid of Sean McDermott. Are you surprised?
Well, yes and no. I mean, no job is safe in the National Football League or pro sports, Rod. And unfortunately, and the Bills are looking at the window of Josh Allen and realizing they needed to make a change to maximize this elite talent who can't play forever. And eventually he's going to get old, going to get hurt, play forever. And eventually he's going to get old, going to get hurt. They'll have to look at another quarterback. But here you have an MVP caliber quarterback in the prime of his career, and they want to bring a new coach in to take it to the next level, because under McDermott, fair or not, great regular seasons and just heartbreak after heartbreak in the playoffs. I think he's going to be hired in the next couple of weeks.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what our poll question today is.
Good weather. And, Matt Stafford and some of the weapons that they have in LA, it'll be a challenge. But had Bo Nix not get hurt, you would think the Broncos have a good chance. But don't count out.
I'm sitting down here in South Florida, and the Dolphins fans, they are an aggrieved bunch. They are an aggrieved bunch. Not as bad as New York Jets fans, but close. It's been a long time for a Super Bowl for
very
both.
Close.
And they're sitting there looking at the Patriots going, how that? How did they bottom out, get a third overall pick, and be right back?
And has built something there. McDaniel's problem with Miami for the Dolphins is they never had that feel the Dolphins that the Patriots have with Vrabel. And it's nothing to do with X's and O's or does he know football or not. You're not going to be a coach at the NFL level without knowing something about X's and O's and playbooks. But you are also, you're like John Hamm and Mad Men. You're a salesman. You are selling your vision, your type of football to the team. Look what Mike McDonald's done in Seattle. In a couple of years, he's definitely done it with the Seahawks. Yeah. And Vrabel's done it in New England. And I mean, to me, that is one of the biggest. Everything's fast. We want results immediately. Sometimes you have to stick it out as an ownership management and let them build something. It doesn't always work quick, but you realize, I mean, if I'm the Titans, like, we could have had that. I mean, they don't have Drake.
To know what.
Yeah, but the owner has a say in that. If I'm the GM and there's money owed, I have to go to you, the owner, and say, hey, Rod, I'm getting rid of, that's coach. I know you're going to have to pay him a year, 2 more years, but I think we need to make a change. So that's a meeting with the general manager and the team president and the owner. So then the owner has to sign off on it, like, okay, and the owner. So then the owner has to sign off on it, like, okay, we have a big meeting. Okay, I'll pay him what he's owed. It's everyone. For years with the Broncos, had Pat Bolin, the Edmonton native. I mean, he was sort of like I just think that there's so many big financial decisions. There's so many big financial decisions to be made, especially in the head coaching decision, that those things don't happen. Well, they're at home and they have Cooper Kupp at wide receiver. And I think that's a big, and they have Cooper Kupp at wide receiver. And I think that's a big advantage for the Seahawks because of his intimate knowledge of Sean McVay and the Rams, their systems, their play calling. He'll help the offense and the defense. Their play calling. He'll help the offense and the defense. Matt Stafford's still an elite level quarterback. I just hope that Sam Darnold's healthy and at least 85% health for game time. But one of the names that's not being talked enough about is the play of DeMarcus Lawrence, who was great in that playoff win over the 49ers, and come over after that long run of the Cowboys, and he's really solidified the front seven of the Seahawks. The management, the coaching staff, they've put together, use that term, a wagon. It's a 14-win team in the regular season. We shouldn't be shocked at how well they played against the 49ers and the Rams. And this is, to me, was the theme of the playoffs this weekend. The Seahawks were the only team that didn't turn the ball over, Rod. Every other team, fumbles, interceptions. And if they don't turn the ball over again and they're at home, the Seahawks will be extremely tough to beat.
Just a word. I love C.J. Stroud. He's under a lot of heat for his performance for Houston yesterday. How hot should it be?
Well, it should be hot. 4 picks in the first half. The way that defense plays and how well they played, they still kept them in the game somehow after all those turnovers. And I mean, yes, the other team is going to try to force you to turn the ball over, make plays, strip sacks, disguise the coverages so you read the wrong thing and throw the ball wrong. But that whole concept that Tom Brady talks about of ball security, and all the coaches talk about ball security and making the smart play, it is magnified tenfold in the postseason. And, a one-and-done game like that on the road in clement weather, that's just, you can't recover from that no matter how much of an athlete and how good of a talent you are. So that's something they'll have to revisit in the offseason with him as a player, Stroud, the coaching staff, his recognition of opposing defenses, his decision-making, because he could be the most talented guy in the world. If you keep turning the ball over, you can't win it. Think about the reason Joe Montana is the legend as he is. 4 Super Bowls, never threw a pick. 0 interceptions in 4 Super Bowls. And it's not so much what you do in these huge playoff games, it's what you don't do. And if you take a sack as opposed to throwing a pick, if you play it safe, 3 and out, punt the ball and play it safe, it's better than throwing that pick and fumbling that ball, because that's a free field position for the opposing team. And that's something that Stroud has to learn. And they have to coach him up that way. And he's got to get that feel, that sixth sense, and that comes with time. He's only 23. And if you look at the great quarterbacks over time, the reason so many people were frustrated with Tom Brady and Peyton Manning and some of those elite quarterbacks like that and Patrick Mahomes, defensive players would be steaming off the corner, and at the last second, they could feel it and just took that half step out of the way so the defensive player goes by and they make the pass. And that's the difference between good and great and elite quarterbacks, is that sense in the pocket. Your eyes are down the field. Pressure's coming, but you're not taking your eyes off where you want to throw the ball. You just get out of the way long enough. You don't have to run around 40, 50 yards, just enough to let them go by you and make that play. And that's something Stroud has to learn.
I think he will. He's a smart kid. He's got the tools. They've done great things since he's been there. Hey, I love talking NFL with you, but I love talking Leafs hockey as well. They've got Minnesota in there tonight. It's always drama-filled in Leafland. What's your take on the first half of the season for Toronto, and what are they going to do in the second half, do you think?
By mid-December, it was getting really ugly in Toronto. And then they started to turn things around, and I believe they're 7-1-2 in their last 10 games. The win in Winnipeg with Matthew setting up Max Domi for the GWG. They come into it. They're just 1 point out of the wild card. The temperature has dropped in Toronto with the Leafs. They can see that the long as the goaltending's healthy, they're starting to understand each other. And I think they're starting to understand Craig Berube, to be honest with you. And I know it's a second year there, but, sometimes modern athletes don't like being told that they're doing something wrong. They don't like being told that, I'm the coach, you're the player. I don't think you're right, so I'm going to make a correction. And I think they're starting to understand each other from the coaching standpoint and the player standpoint. And you cannot discount that when they got rid of Mark Savard, that they have played, Dan, if you're Treliving and Berube and the Leafs, what deal can we make to make the Leafs competitive with the Lightning, to beat them in a 7-game series? There's fans can be a little naive about the way of business of sports, the way it is now. And no matter what he did in his time in Toronto and all the heroics in the postseason and the Bo Bichette love affair, for Bo and his agent, it's business. This is a business decision. There's nothing against Toronto or the Blue Jays or the fans or anything. He got the best deal, the most money, and he took it. The Blue Jays are still defending American League champions. They've got a lot going for them. They've had a pretty good offseason, I think, so far. Around here, I haven't seen people, they're counting down the days till pitchers and catchers arrive. We haven't seen that since the early 90s. It's been a long time, Rod. So why they'll miss him now, it'll be a great atmosphere from when the Mets are at Rogers Center, that's for sure.
Oh, how will he be received?
They'll probably cheer him at first, personally, because of who he is, until he gets like a double or a home run, then they'll boo him.
Yeah. Well, he's not the first to leave. He won't be the last. You're right.
No.
If we had more time, I would dig into, should Rogers be criticized for not keeping him? But we had viewers write in. It really ignited love for the Blue Jays amongst our viewer base. And they said, he's not worth the money. He's injured all the time. So it is what it is. People move on. And we are unfortunately out of time. But, Jim, this has been great, my friend. Enjoy the conference championships and the Super Bowl, and talk soon.
Thanks, Rod. You're the best. Appreciate it.
Our good friend Jim Lang, NFL pundit and multi-best-selling author. We'll be coming right back with a sports update and viewer takeover across the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network and Game Plus TV.
We'll see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody, on this Monday. We appreciate you sticking with us through technical issues today. Really appreciate you doing that, and also contributing to the discussion, including Jeff the Stamps fan, who might very well be our number one viewer. There you go, Jeff. I said it. Jeff the Stamps fan writes in, he says, I always wish football offseason was as brief as baseball offseason. You know, I think about that more than I probably should. The length of these off seasons, you know. And the one thing about football, you know, as far as the NFL goes and the CFL goes, there's a lot of differences between the leagues, but the similarity is that they're both 6-month leagues. You know, the CFL's fiddled with moving it up and so forth, but is there anything to be said for leave them wanting more? You know, the Jerry Seinfeld strategy, went out on top, but just leave you wanting more, because that's what football does. It's too physically taxing of a sport, obviously, to play much longer. And I was funny, Jeff, that you would bring that up, because the baseball playoffs are very fast. They're very fast. A month, if you play in a wild card series and go all the way to the World Series, a month, maybe a little more, but not like the Stanley Cup playoffs that are 2 months. And then I look at this college football national championship tonight. What people don't see, Miami is playing Indiana here tonight, and if I have time in this segment, I'll get to more about the game, but I also know of players, because I talked to one's dad yesterday, that have already switched schools, entered the transfer portal, and moved across the country and are chilling in the hot tub of their new facility, all while Indiana-Miami season's still going on. Or for that matter, Oregon and the teams that were, down to the Final Four. So some teams go real long, others don't. The Florida Panthers, after winning the Stanley Cup last summer, had a 90-day break from Game 6 of the Stanley Cup to the opening of training camp. So it's long for some teams, not long for others. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. One of the viewers, I can't remember the name, I think Scott, tipped us off to news out of Vancouver on this Monday. The struggling Canucks have traded Kiefer Sherwood to the San Jose Sharks. Vancouver receives defenseman Cole Clayton and second-round picks in both the 2026 and 27 draft in exchange for the bruising winger. Sherwood has a team-high 17 goals for Vancouver this season, alongside 6 helpers. He posted career highs in goals, assists, and points for the Canucks last year. The 30-year-old undrafted forward from Columbus, Ohio, is in the final year of the 2-year, $3 million deal he signed as a free agent back on July 1st, 2024. The breaking news from the NFL that feels like old news already, but it's really not. The Bills have fired coach Sean McDermott after the team again failed to reach the Super Bowl in his 9 seasons. The move came 2 days after the Bills were eliminated in a heart-wrenching 33-30 overtime loss at Denver in the divisional round. The Bills went 12-5 in the regular season and saw their 5-year run atop the AFC East end. McDermott transformed the franchise into a perennial winner, but was knocked for failing to make a Super Bowl appearance during his time. Buffalo became the NFL's first team to win a playoff round in 6 consecutive years, but not reach the Super Bowl. And to this college football championship tonight, the Super Bowl of college football, take a long, downtrodden team that happens to have the world's largest alumni base, that's Indiana, and another playing a home game while in search of its first national title in 25 years, and the math is simple. Tonight's game is the toughest ticket in town. And in fact, the title game tonight between Indiana and Miami will be among the most expensive tickets in college football history. with a get-in price topping $3,900. Indiana's trying to wrap up an undefeated season with the program's first national title. They haven't lost all year. Miami, meanwhile, playing in their own stadium, looking to bring the first title back to the U since 2001. If you want to talk about what this town's going through, very first thing I saw this morning when I turned the television on was the weather lady on WPTV doing this just ahead of her forecast for the South Florida region today. The international signal for the University of Miami. It is everywhere. I'll be honest, I was thinking about this before the show. I'll be glad when it's over. And the Panthers playing tonight across town. Be interested to see what the crowd is for that as Matthew Tkachuk makes his season debut. Sports update is for the Ultimate Fan Zone in Moose Jaw. Riders, Blue Jays, NFL, NHL, swing by the Ultimate Fan Zone or shop online at ultimatefanzone.ca where real fans get their gear. Get all your questions and comments in for the final segment. Overtime coming up right after this.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday.
Drinks.
Neglected or unloved.
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca. Okay, we're back at it for overtime. It is the final segment of this program today. Thanks for sticking with us, everybody, through the technical issues. It's funny, Jeff the Stamps fan writes in and says, yep, true, Rod, that he is our number one viewer, number one fan, whatever you want to say. Thank you, Jeff, for sticking with us tonight. Jeremy writes in, he's watching in Winnipeg. He says, Indiana wins tonight. Well, I'll tell you, the odds makers would agree. The Hoosiers are favored by 7.5. They certainly have the brand, don't they? Thank you to the movies, and thank you to Bobby Knight. This isn't the first season that the Hoosiers have been prominent. Curtis Rourke brought him back to prominence last year, as you know, the Canadian quarterback out of Oakville, and the head coach, Curt Cignetti. But they're back, and in a championship tonight. It is going to be a hell of a football game. And for guys like Jeff, the Stamps fan, I know there's a lot of you that are CFL fans only, but there's no CFL going on right now. So if you want to watch big-time football, it is going to be a spectacle tonight out of Miami Gardens, Hard Rock Stadium, home of the Miami Dolphins, but also the Miami Hurricanes. But no, I'm not going. I'm actually shocked that nobody's asked. I'm going across town to Sunrise, Florida to catch the Florida Panthers because, and as I've learned from the Panthers people, I've been saying for the last week, we're hockey first here, especially with the Cats and Bolts podcast we are. And we'll be watching the Florida Panthers and San Jose Sharks tonight. It's really, really ironic, though, that Matthew Tkachuk is getting credit for moving the Panthers game up to 6 o'clock, and he's playing tonight. He's making his season debut, Matthew Tkachuk, because when the Hurricanes won the Fiesta Bowl to advance to the national championship, Tkachuk was like, hey, we play that night, same night. And the Panthers moved the game up an hour so as to accommodate fans hoping to follow both. And that's the thing. Jeff, a Stamps fan, says, when you think Hoosiers, you tend to think basketball until now. That was the story last year and the turnaround with the Hoosiers under Kurt Signetti and Curtis Rourke. And now they've just continued it and actually taken it to another level with Fernando Mendoza as they haven't lost yet. And should the Hoosiers pull it off tonight, they'll just be the second college football team in the history of the game to have an undefeated season. So that is very exciting. 902-518-3033 is the text line, but I talked about things working like clockwork. Expectations. To Pete Carroll in Vegas. Yeah, I know there's 32 teams and only one can win. I know that. But how long do you get? Oh, by the way, I don't know. As doesn't seem to be a lot of baseball fans still watching here right now. And by the way, it's quite remarkable that our viewership continues to rise given the fact there are specialty baseball channels. As Tony from Saskatoon wrote in earlier, there's a golf channel if I wanted to hear golf. That's right, because we're not going to talk golf here. But yet those fans still do come here to watch this show. And I'm kind of fascinated, although a little saddened at this story that the narrative, to use Jersey Jim's favorite line, is that there will be a work stoppage following the 2026 MLB season. And I'm just kind of sitting back there going, I go to MLB games, I work at NCAA level baseball, and I don't understand why there would be a work stoppage when Kyle Tucker just signed for $80 million a year. Players are making. Shohei is the only player that makes more, and he is his Dodgers teammate at 70. He signed for $60 million a year. Kyle Tucker. Shohei's at 70, and why would there be a work stoppage? The owners are making more money than ever. The players are making more money than ever. So I put it into Chat GBT, and dagnabbit, do you use it? Because it's fantastic. What it spit out is, from the players' point of view, the share of total revenue going to the players has declined. So yeah, the owners are making more money than ever, but the players actually aren't. What the players are making as a group is not on par with what the owners are making. That's one point. Number two, too much money is concentrated at the very top, and frankly, we see that in every league on a lot of teams, not every team, but Connor McDavid's making 12.5. What's Draisaitl making 14.5? There's a lot of guys at the bottom. Their wages aren't going up. That's not new, but that's apparently an issue that the baseball players have. Younger players, pre-arbitration, everybody. See you tomorrow.
That.